This is something that I hear every day that is so dumb and so stupid, and it holds most people back from creating greater financial success. And I know it's going to be controversial. Hey, driven mofos. Welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Today, we are going to be a little bit controversial, and I know I'm going to piss some people off today, but I know that this is a thing that's holding some people back from achieving greater results financially. I consistently hear about this silly, stupid, fucking idiotic pattern of behavior that is a fantasy that a lot of people create around money and wealth creation, and it holds most people back. And what I know about the majority of people that they've been convinced that laziness is the key to success. And so let's get into it today. Let's crack this pattern. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Mojo. I'm the owner of Mojo Human Performance Institute, where we focus on mindset, lifestyle, and business hacking for driven mofos. The reason why I do these episodes is that most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them. This pattern of behavior is crazy, and it's a thought process that a lot of people have around money and the way that they live. And there is so much dumb shit that happens in society that I spend a lot of time trying to break and trying to clarify and trying to help people to achieve and get ahead. And it's quite hard because the majority of us have been convinced that a lot of this dumb shit that we're taught is intelligent. And I hear a lot of people justify their positions. I hear a lot of people, I disagree with that. Well, I don't give a fuck if you agree or disagree. It's just things either work or they don't work. And so whether you want to agree or don't agree with things, it doesn't matter. Like whether I agree with something or whether I don't agree with something is irrelevant. It's either something works or something doesn't work. And so in life, a lot of people get caught up in these patterns of behavior and these beliefs or these ideologies or whatever it is, these stories that we get told from when we're younger that we buy into, and these myths and mythologies. I mean, mythologies have been around since humans first entered the planet. I mean, we've got Greek mythologies, we've got religions. We don't know what's real, what's not real, and we've got to sort of filter through some of that stuff. There's some realness in there, there's some other stuff and some interpretations, and all these things happen, and humans have done that since the dawn of time. Now, we have mythologies that we've got given from our parents, from the people around us, and one of those that stops so many people, and I'm just going to say it really harshly because what I want it to do is, when I say this, I want you to notice the feeling that you get. Now, if you're one of those people out there who, when I say this, you go, yep, I'm on board with you, or I agree, or that's interesting, then you're open to learning, and maybe you already know this, and so that will help with the rest of this episode. If when I say what I'm about to say, you feel like you've been punched in the chest, slapped in the head, like I've taken something away from you and you want to throw a tantrum, or you want to get on Facebook or Instagram and write me naughty messages or whatever it is, then I would suggest that you check in with yourself and just ask yourself, is this really true? Because the reason why most people take offense to things is that they're uncertain and it's rattling their certainty. And that's why people get offended or attack others and things like that, because it's rattling their certainty. When you're certain about something, nothing really rattles you and phases you because you know it's true. When someone attacks something that you believe is true, then it will rattle you. And I want to do this around money. My goal isn't to offend. It's just that I hope that it rattles something in you if this is a pattern of behavior that's stopping you from getting ahead financially. So what I'm going to say now is that something that I hear consistently is this idea around passive income. But if you're one of those people who consistently think about passive income and your goal in life is to have passive income, you're probably fucking lazy. There, I said it. Now, if that upset you, if that rattled anything, then hold on to your chairs, because it's a dead giveaway that you're working towards the wrong thing. And let me explain it, and let's go into this in detail because I really want to help you to get ahead financially. So when we think about passive income, it's normally this idea that something's going to work for us without us having to work. So essentially, our mindset is, if I can do something now, then I don't have to work again. So your priority is not to work, which means you're fucking lazy or off track. It's one of those two things. So you either don't know what you're working towards, or you're just generically fucking lazy as a human. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I doubt that that's the case, because our community are driven mofos. That's why I do this podcast, is because I know that most people that I get come to our events or hit me up are normally driven to achieve more in their life. It's just that a lot of them have been convinced or even taught stuff that isn't true and doesn't work. And that's because society keeps doing things or believing in things that don't work. We buy into mythologies. Like one of the ones that I used to get taught was that I had to go to school in order to get a good education, because when I had a good education, then I could get a good job, which then would pay well, and then I could live a good life. Now, I started realizing once I entered the workforce that that was bullshit. There was a part truth in that, but it wasn't the whole truth. And so we've got to question those things. And we have to look what's working, what's not working, and break things down. Now, when it comes to passive income, I think this is super important because way too many people get caught up in this idea. And I get people that are like 18, 19, 21, 25, even 30 sending me messages going, I just want to make passive income, Michael. Like, what's the best way of making passive income? I just want to build a business so that I don't have to work. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? You're off track. You don't know what you're doing in life. What's your mission? What's your purpose? What are you trying to achieve? Go and look at the greatest producers on the planet. Let's go and look at Elon Musk. He's got enough money where he never has to work another day in the rest of his whole entire life. And he would have more money. If he sold his shares in all of the companies that he had, he could sell all of his shares and never work again. Now, the question is, why does he keep working? Why does Warren Buffett still work? One of the richest people on the planet, the greatest investor in history. He's worth hundreds of billions of dollars and has hundreds of billions of dollars of available cash flow where he never has to work again. Why is he still working? Why is Jeff Bezos, why doesn't he just sell all of his shares in Amazon, cash in the $500 billion that he's got available, and just never work again? Why? Why do the greatest people on the planet keep working? Why is it that actors, great actors like Morgan Freeman and some of the older actors out there, why are they still working? Why? Why is it that there are so many people out there that still love what they do? I got in an Uber a little while ago with this amazing guy and we were just having a chat and we were just talking and he said, Michael, I retired, but then after a year, I realized that I love being around people and I worked my whole life around people. And he's like, now I just drive an Uber. And he goes, I drive an Uber most days until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And, I'm start work at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and I do a 12-hour shift. And he's like, I love it. I love hanging out with people. I love connecting with people, blah, blah, blah. The point that I'm trying to make is that the majority of people have been convinced about a lie and a mythology that is dog shit. I would say that almost every human being on the planet or anyone that I've come across wants unicorns to shit out cash in their bank account, right? But that's exactly what it is we know that unicorns are bullshit, but the idea of passive income is bullshit. And it's bullshit because you have to work no matter what you do in order to achieve great things. The question is, why are you working? Now, I know that there's going to be some people on here who go, yeah, but what about the share market? What about crypto? What about fucking if I buy a house? Okay, let's go through this one by one. So if you buy properties as an investment, there are things that you need to do in order to maintain that investment. Therefore, it is not passive. You still have to work towards it. Now, if you're someone that's intelligent and wants to keep growing, you want to buy multiple properties or many properties or even have condos or things like that you're renting out. Now, you might have to employ an agency to look after them. You might have to worry about cleaners. Shit will break. You need to update the bathrooms. There's a whole bunch of things that need to go on. So therefore, it's not a passive investment. It's an investment. And if you treat it as an investment, you'll realize that you still have to work towards it. I invest reasonably heavily in the share market. Even then, I buy long term. So I normally buy and hold. I don't buy and sell, and I'm not a trader. I'm an investor. They're two different things. Now, most people confuse investing in the share market because I'm investing in businesses long term versus trading, which is you're essentially buying margins. So you're a margin trader, which means when the price goes up, you buy it when it's cheaper. And then if you can quickly flip it, you make the margin or the difference between the buy and the sell price. Now, those types of people who do that, they're the same as back in the old days, the people with mirror balls that think that they can see shit into the future. I mean, all traders hope that the price goes up or the price goes down, depending on what they're betting on. Essentially, it's gambling because no one knows the future. There have been plenty of papers that show that margin traders don't make money long term, and the majority of them end up broke. And there are a very few select group of people that are extremely skilled that do reasonably well, but normally there's a fair bit of inside trading and a whole bunch of other stuff there that they sort of find out things. So even for someone like me, who invests in shares, it's still not a passive investment because I still have to go and look at it and find out what's going on in the markets just to make sure that my capital isn't being chewed away. I've got to check out all the fees and things like that associated with the buying, the taxation. So there's a whole bunch of things. Like only recently, I've just got a bunch of dividends in. I've got to still take hold of that paperwork and all that stuff because I've got to do tax on those dividends. And yes, hopefully it would grow over time if you're buying good investments. But how do you know that unless you work towards it? So you don't just go out there and slam money into the share market and fucking hope and pray that it works. If the market is overinflated, which I think it has been for a little bit, but I could be wrong. But if you go and do that and the price drops by 30%, you've just lost 30% of the price that you've put into that market at that time. Now, it might take you a year or two to recover that cost. So these are the things that are really important to think about. There's nothing really that's passive. As a business owner, you might get to a place where you have a business that works without you, but the majority of business owners that I know who have that style of business still going to work. Okay, they're still working towards something because if not, they're bored. The thing that they love doing was building the business. So they don't want to just walk away from it from it and hope and pray that someone else keeps managing it and all that sort of stuff. They're still there. That's why the greatest investors on the planet still run their businesses. Now, they might not be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like in the startup phase, you might work 18 hours a day, 7 days straight consistently, and that might be 2 to 3 years. But as the business starts to scale, you spend less time at work, or that you need to be at work, and you have a bit more of a lifestyle. But you're still there, right? As the business grows, you're still there. There's an amount of productivity that you have to put into things in order for them to grow. And things in nature either grow or die, or things in the universe expand or they contract. Now, this idea of passive income traps the majority of people. I hear it every fucking day, where someone will come up and they're like, Michael, I just want to create passive income. Okay, well, one of two things. You're either lazy or you're off track. Like, you don't know what your mission is in life. You don't know what you want to achieve. Even if someone gave me $100 million right now, I would still work. The thing that I love to do is to work, because the work is the process of me becoming better. It's a process of achieving greater things. It's a process of achieving greater results. Now, what I find is that the majority of people who want passive income want it because they keep making financial decisions based in fear. They're afraid that they're going to be broke, or they're afraid that they're going to be stuck, or they're worried about money all the time, or they're stressed about money. And then you've got to dig deeper into that. Why are they stressed about money all the time? Why do they feel this need to have this idea of passive income? Why? Okay, I've got someone who I know who's a mate of mine. They just sold their company for $400 million in his 30, because he said he's going away for his 30th. They're just about to turn 30 and sold their company for $400 million. Now, if that's the case, that's pretty fucking incredible. Now, he's still working. When I caught up with him for breakfast just after the deal went through, he said to me, Michael, this is going to be the smallest deal that I'm going to do in business. And I went, this is a driven mofo. He gets it. He's got enough money where he never has to work again for the rest of his life in his 30. Now, that's pretty friggin' incredible. Mind-blowing, in fact. Yet, he still wants to work. Why? Because he has a greater mission. He has a greater purpose. He's got clear goals. He knows what he's trying to achieve. The process of life is becoming a better version of yourself, understanding yourself more, understanding life more, creating this wisdom, and then passing that on to others. Now, it could be through experience, through leadership, through management, through your kids, whatever it is. But if you're just a lazy motherfucker that wants to have passive income so you can sit around and, I just want to go to Bali and relax and have a holiday and never do anything, you're spending money. Now, when you're spending money, what happens to that passive income? It goes down, unless you've got a big enough supply or surplus of cash where the investment is greater than the amount of money that you can spend. But if that's the case, normally you've got to work extremely hard for it. And yes, there are a very, very, very minute percentage of the population, which again, most people create mythologies around. Now, I've worked with people who have inherited large sums of money. In fact, I worked with someone who inherited $70 million. They were, I guess you could say, part of an extremely wealthy family. They were one of many, many, many great grandchildren. So this is a business that's been around for a long, long time. Even for them, what I noticed was that when they were driven and on track, they wanted to grow, they wanted to expand, and they wanted to grow the wealth because they didn't want to disappoint their family by losing it. I've worked with other people who have inherited smaller amounts of money. Let's say it might be $1 million of a property portfolio, and they're lazy, they're complacent, they spend the money, but they feel like disappointments. They have a lot of mental and emotional issues, so they're depressed, they feel down, they feel like they're worthless, they feel like they've wasted their family's money, they've been given this opportunity and essentially they've fucked it. How would you feel if that was the case? It would be pretty horrifying. Yet most people have this fantasy of, oh, if I just inherit this money, then life will be better. Yeah, but if you don't grow that inheritance, people are going to look at you and go, what a dumb fuck. You inherited all this money and now you're broke as shit. Because most people create a lifestyle of spending, which is the reason why they're in fear and worried and afraid anyway, because they've never understood money. They don't understand that money is attached to value. Value creation is part of the game of life. If you're not consistently creating value through greater productivity and those sort of things, then what are you doing? It's going to destroy your self-worth. It's going to destroy your self-respect, your self-love, your focus. All of that stuff's going to turn to shit. So if you want mental health issues, keep just praying to win the lotto, and when you win it, watch what happens. You'll end up fucking up your life, as do most people who win the lotto. If you just look at it statistically and you read a lot of articles, which I did do for a while there, when I used to have a tour, and we did a national tour called Mullah, which was all about making mullah, I went through and I showed so many different cases, multiple different cases of people who had won the lotto and all they ended up doing was blowing it. And you see this with athletes as well. Mike Tyson was worth over $200 million. And if you read his book, the stuff that he did was fascinating. He would just go out and blow all this cash because he thought that it would keep coming in until eventually he went bankrupt. The old Chicago Bulls player. Dennis Rodman was like $1 or $2 million in debt, but he made $24 million or $25 million playing basketball in the 90s. That was a huge sum of money back then. I mean, it's a huge sum of money now. But he lost it. Why? Because he had shitty spending habits, no purpose, wasn't productive after he played the game, and just became complacent, lazy. All you need to do is go back and just have a look at the 7 deadly sins, or the Greeks called them the 8 evil thoughts. And one of those 8 evil thoughts, or the 7 deadly sins, is gluttony. And what most people want in life is gluttony. And the reason why it's a deadly sin is because you become complacent. You get lazy and you live with an over excess. And so when you live with this over excess of things, you'll end up blowing everything anyway, because life and nature, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, forces us to grow. Whatever it is, whatever fucking reason why we're here, we're forced to grow. And if you do not consistently grow, and this goes for your wealth as well, if you do not consistently grow and you're not a productive member of society, you'll end up fucking everything. And it'll either be your mental health or it'll just be your life in general. So my suggestion is get clear with what you want in life, get clear with a purpose, get clear with your mission, really understand what you're wanting to achieve in life. Because when you do that, it will keep you driven and you'll work towards something that's fulfilling in life. When you do that, money is the byproduct of the value that you create. And it's just a metric that tells you whether you're doing great in life and what you're producing is valuable to others, or if not, there's missing parts there, which then you've got to go out and learn. So I hope this helps, Driven Mofos. It is something that I hear so often where people say, I just want this passive income or whatever it is. But like I said, I want unicorns to shit gold in my bank account too. But the truth is unicorns don't exist and passive income doesn't really fucking exist either. You always have to work towards something. Now, even if you do invest in something, you've got to keep your eye on those investments. If not, they go down. Now, some investments are more passive, I guess you could say, than others. But even still, you've got to work towards that. You've got to think through that. Also, there are a lot of young people out there who are working extremely hard, like my parents did, where they would work hard to try and create all of these investments because we didn't start with a lot of money. I mean, I used to get called POV at school because my parents couldn't afford even basketball shoes for me. And that's why I got my first job when I was 13. And it was just because my family couldn't afford things. My parents worked extremely hard, but my mum was extremely tight with money. And if she could get away with saving like 5 cents on a loaf of bread and 20 cents on a 50 pack of sausages, that's what we would eat for the next week. And that's how we lived when I was growing up. I mean, it's a good way of getting ahead financially and setting yourself up in the future. But it can also rob you of your enjoyment in life now. But there are also people out there who enjoy life way too much now and they're robbing themselves of their future. So there's a nice little balance point there. It takes a while to figure out what that is, but you've got to be working towards something that you enjoy. Please don't go and start a business because you think that that's going to be the savior to your financial issues. And please don't think that there's this passive income out there. I hear it all the time from network marketers and people like that. And not that I have anything wrong with network marketing. I've done a lot of talks for a lot of different network marketing companies. But the ones that tend to grow, the teams that grow and collapse, or the ones that grow and then contract really, really rapidly over a 2 to 3 year period, do so because they sell a fantasy of this idea of passive income. Yet the people that are selling it to you are the ones still fucking working. They're up on stage or going to people's houses at night time at 7 o'clock at night doing these talks and selling the stuff, or they're presenting on weekends. The reason why they're doing that is because they're working. They just don't perceive that it's work because they actually enjoy the process of what they're doing in most cases, which is why they're good at it and they've probably been doing it for a long, long time. So please just don't buy into that myth. If someone tells you, this is passive, there's probably something going on. Either they don't understand what passivity is or being passive is, or they're just trying to sell you something because it works in their favor. And this is why at the moment we've got a whole bunch of Ponzi schemes that are getting bought up in cryptocurrencies. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few going on in the share market as well, just because there's an excess of a surplus of cash, a surplus of stupid people that want to get ahead, and they have money that's coming in that they haven't worked really, really hard for, and they'll blow it. And they'll blow it in Ponzi schemes because they get told that, they can have this great lifestyle and that they can guarantee that they're going to get a 5 or 10% return per year, year after year or whatever. I was pitched a Ponzi scheme that went bust about a year and a half ago. And someone said to me that you can make, I think it's like 1% per day, which is 7% per week. That's fucking crazy. That's ludicrous. Anyone who thinks that that's not a Ponzi scheme is mental. And I had all these people hitting me up about it on social media. It was a crypto Ponzi. All these people hitting me up. All these people who follow me on social media all hitting me up going, dude, you got to invest in this. 1% per day, blah, blah, blah. It's guaranteed. And I'm like, where the fuck is the money coming from? Like, the only way that they can sustain that is if the markets are going up, which means that people keep driving up the asset. That's like a 360% return per year. Now, when markets are in a bull market and they're going up, of course that can happen, but that can't keep happening forever. So they can't promise that. That's illegal to do that. So the fact that someone can promise 1% is already illegal in Australia anyway. And then secondly, how can you guarantee that if the market's going down? So if you're in a bear market, how can you guarantee that? If the market swings in an opposite direction, how can you guarantee that? There was something fishy going on about it and I picked it out straight away. And everyone told me that I was an idiot, that I was a jerk, that I didn't understand what was going on. And I think it was about 6 to 8 months later, bang, it comes out in the media, Ponzi scheme. People had, I think there were billions out of that one. I think it was like $3 or $4 billion that were ripped out of the crypto markets, and all these people lost their money. And it was just due to sheer stupidity and not really thinking through things, and people wanting to get rich quick, people not really thinking about what they were doing, getting promised this passive income and this fucking fantasy, and bang, all of a sudden they got cooked. So anyway, I hope this helps Driven Mofos, and I'm not saying that there aren't investments out there that are great investments that are more passive, as in they are more passive than others, but there is no such thing as a full passive income. And if you're focusing on a passive income, you're not focused on your mission. You're not focused on what you're trying to achieve in life. You're focused on being lazy, which is a byproduct of being stressed or feeling trapped or having other stuff that's going on mentally that is causing you to feel tired and burnt out and stressed and frustrated and worried and concerned and fearful. You've probably heard in other podcasts that I've done before that all emotions are bipolar, so they swing back and forward. If you feel trapped, you're going to consistently want to seek freedom. If you're worried all the time, you're going to want to seek this feeling of not being worried, and by being free and having, not that weight on your shoulders. Our brain plays that byproduct, which then makes people want to seek freedom. But normally when someone says to me, Michael, I want to be financially free, it's only because at the moment they're financially trapped. It's a really interesting perspective. Anyway, I hope that helps Driven Mofos, but I really wanted to crack this so I don't keep getting messages from people asking me how they can create passive income. I always tell them, come to Thrive Time. Get clear with your mission, get clear with that stuff, and work towards something that's fulfilling for you. The work becomes fun and the byproduct becomes money. And then you just reinvest in the things that you enjoy doing, which is working anyway. And then you keep building something that's worthwhile and something that's fulfilling in life. Anyway, Driven Mofos, I really hope that helps. If you haven't already done so, please jump across to my YouTube channel, which is Michael Mojo 00, or just type in Michael Mojo on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, because I am dropping a whole bunch of videos and trainings and things like that on our YouTube channel. So please, if you haven't already done so, and you're a driven mofo who wants to have more mental performance, who wants to have more lifestyle hacking, who wants to grow their business, please jump across, hit that subscribe button, because you'll get some extra bonus material over the next couple of weeks. So please jump across there and hit that subscribe button. And please remember that most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them. Get out there, keep crushing hard, keep pushing hard, and remember, never underestimate the dream. Stay driven, Driven Mofos.